Well, I'm not like some of these other cats that's waiting on people to come in. I got things to do. But we got an issue within our community that really needs our attention. A lot of us can sit and act like we're so concerned with what's going on with our children, but not seeing that the thing that's going on with our children is almost a direct reflection of how we are towards each other. I don't know when we started to tell children a lot of the things we tell them now. But one of the things that bothers me the most is we tell children that they don't have to do anything that they don't want to do. To me, that's a very, very dangerous slope because they sit and watch us as adults do things that we don't want to do all the time. A lot of us have jobs that we don't want to go to. We pay bills that we don't want to pay. We answer to people that we don't want to answer to. We do a lot of stuff that we don't want to do, but then we tell children they don't have to do things that they don't want to do and wonder why we have kids that drop out of school, like school is something that they want to do. Or we have kids that don't want to work. So then you wonder why they don't get jobs. Well, you gave them the message saying that they don't have to do anything they don't want to do. They don't listen to their elders. And you're wondering why. Because they don't have to do anything they don't want to do. This is the message that you sent them, that you told them directly. You know, they don't have to clean up because that's something that they don't want to do. You know, they don't have to make logical decisions because that's something they don't want to do. They don't want to go against their feelings. So why? Why should they? Because you've told them that they shouldn't do anything that they want to do while you go to a job that you don't want to go to. If we're being honest with ourselves, we could see where the misunderstanding comes from. Because if we want them to do as we say and not as we do, that's a whole nother video. But when they start doing what we say and not caring about the reality, which is we have to care for each other and care for one another and treat each other fairly and look at each other without judgment and just do right by each other. That's not something they want to do because they have to suffer behind it. There's a compromise. But we continue to say if you don't want to do something, you shouldn't have to do it. You're having a conversation with your children that you don't want to have. Now, maybe you feel like I push things to the extreme, but let's just be honest. We got parents that bury their kids. You think that's something they want to do? They've been taught that they don't have to do something that they don't want to do. And those kids grow up. You got parents that have to go down to these jails and city halls and prisons to visit their kids. That's something they don't want to do. But these were kids that you told that they didn't have to do anything that they didn't want to do. We're so screwed up, man. I don't even know how we can recover from it because you telling them lies. What? I mean, out. You telling them that they don't have to respect someone that they seem more than, or that they look at as if they're beneath them. Now, who wants to put someone who they feel is beneath them on the same level as they are? And maybe it seems like I'm complaining all the time. People feel that way. Like I complain all the time, but we got people that's dying every day. My, I, I, I just got a message saying that someone close to my family has been shot and it's not looking good. So yeah, I can complain. I can complain because you guys see it as a problem, but you don't try to correct it. You start to double down on what the problem is and what creates it. Right now, we are living in a society where people look at what you have as being more important than who you are. I was watching a video a few minutes ago, and they were talking about how Michael Jordan's wife was humiliated at a car dealership because she walked in and she had on some normal wear, her normal attire. She wasn't trying to be classy and dressed up and everything. And, you know, he made an example out of some people. And I appreciate that out of Michael Jordan. I do. I usually don't even, I'm not really big on Mike. You know, you wouldn't even hear me talk about Mike like that, but I love what he did because I'll tell you about it later on in this video. I'll be sure to come back to it later on in this video and let you know what I'm talking about. But it's a beautiful story, because what he's talking about is luxury and elegance. And right now we have a society of people out here that feel like everything is about having a whole lot of money. We got bullies. But a couple weeks ago, we had a kid get killed at a library here in Cleveland Heights. What are our kids gonna do? What are we gonna do to help our children, man? It's so depressing, you know what I mean? And the people that don't care anything about it, it's like you just want to dis. I've had conversations with people, and it's like they just disagree to disagree. You can't even have a real conversation because people listen to react instead of listening to understand. I've had a lot of things happen, you know what I'm saying, this is the fourth month of 2025, and it's already been a month to remember. I had a episode of Deja Vu. My son and I, we went to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the Superbilia Expo. And for some reason, he went out there. He played amazing the first game. Second game, he played like he didn't know how to make a ball in his feelings. And to be honest with you, I feel like it's part of him being spoiled and feeling like everything's going to be okay no matter what. He has there's no drive. There's no competitiveness that, really resonates with him because he gets everything. Everybody wants to befriend him and be around him, and you know, it's crazy to me. And then when you get to the point where he needs to be uh, confronted and disciplined, you get people that think that it's like you're doing too much. And of course, you can't tell anybody else how to raise their kids, but they always have something to say about how you raise yours. You know, we're pointing our fingers. The men are pointing at the women are pointing at the men. Our children are suffering because we act like we can't work together and agree on something that's so simple. The only reason that we disagree so much is because a lot of us want to make it about us. The moment that you brought a child into this world, it's not about you anymore. It's about that child. You know, I did talk to my daughter for a while after the incident just to see where her mind was. She's grown now. She's 18, and she said because it was the only way that I validate her, but I didn't give her any other opportunities. And I mean, I could say to remember all the things that I had her into. She feels like she's behind. And I really did tell her, I said, no matter what you do for the kids, either they're going to embrace it and appreciate it and show gratitude, or they're going to say that you're doing a terrible job and you could have done better. There's no way you can control that part. I could have given her opportunity after opportunity of and shown her all things still wouldn't matter because she was somewhere where she didn't want to be. And someone told her, if this is something that you don't want to do, you shouldn't have to do it. Our culture suffers behind this because we don't have people that's going into these areas of expertise that we need in our community. In a community where we need doctors, lawyers, we need those politicians that can actually go in and make change. We need people that can just be mathematicians. We need teachers, you know, and who who says they want to be that as a child? We don't have any scientists in our communities like that anymore. Not the ones, not to where I can see them. Um, we're we're so busy trying to make it seem like they can have everything they want, but in the end, after telling them they can do whatever they want and they don't have to do anything that they don't want, that road leads them to a place where they don't want to be, and we see it time after time. They say, well, you have to give them options and let them suffer the consequences. And I used an analogy that, it made sense to me, but someone that's so caught up in their feelings wouldn't understand it because they they're so busy trying to defend something that they wouldn't listen to what's being said. The analogy was, you know, if you know what, let me rewind a little bit. I was telling her that I wanted her to talk to her brother about her decision, my daughter, because she lived it. She suffers now, but the only problem is she blames me instead of blaming herself. She had an opportunity to do a couple things, you know. But she was saying that I wasn't trying to see what he wanted to do. And I told her that she wasn't doing what she wanted to do. So how is that even a relative subject? And she said, well, I would tell him to find out what he wants to do. And I said, so you're meaning to tell me you'll find something that you're not good at instead of doing something that you're good at that could lead you to what you want to do? And with her being in her feelings, she said, yeah. Now, both my kids are good pool players and good chess players. And I said, you should actually put time into that because it's a promising path. Now, I referred back to the Wayans brothers, and Damon Wayans said something that just made so much sense to me. He said that his nephews and nieces and some of the family members said that they didn't want to do anything in the family business that was within the family business, and they didn't have a problem with it. Go ahead, try your own way. And Keenan said to them, the family has a business where the path for success is already laid out for you. Why would you take a detour? And it just stood out to me. So it just stood out to me because we got so many kids taking detours and ended up at dead ends. And we're still teaching this go out and be your own self and don't take this path and don't take that path. We haven't seen any positive come out of it. Anyway, I said that because the analogy I gave my daughter was to actually express to her how we're all connected because she feels like the decisions that she make doesn't affect her brother. Her brother's decisions don't affect her. My decisions don't affect her. Her decisions don't affect me. And I had to tell her how we are all connected because we have this other saying that I don't care. Well, I don't have that saying, but our youth, they don't care. They're the and some of the people that we are that we work with, they say it all. I don't care, and it was an argument because of that. Just yesterday, I was like, if you don't care, you shouldn't even be in the conversation. Honestly, why are you in the conversation if you don't care? But anyway, here's the thing. I said, if your brother and you are walking to school together because there's a safe route, it's a short route, it's the safest and shortest route to school. But he decides one day that he wants to take the long way, which is dangerous, then it's going to affect you because that guess who has to go with him because you're responsible for him? You have to go with him. Now, because of this, of course, she's going to disagree and say, "Oh, no, I'm not. I don't have to go down that route with him." Yeah. Well, that's your brother. Just like if you go down that path, I got to go down there because you're my daughter. And it makes it hard on everybody. So, of course, you want to be your individual self. I get it. But that's not what community is built on. That's not what neighborhoods are built on. Sometimes I find myself just so jealous and envious because I was dealing with an insurance company lately, and the I was talking to one of the adjusters, and the guy was he wasn't sure about something that he had to deal with my claim, And he said, "Well, let me give you another guy's number." He gave me the number and the name, and the last name was the same. And I said, "Oh, okay, I can put two and two together." That's the common sense that I was raised in the era where common sense made sense. Anyway, I watched, I paid attention, and I asked him. I said, "Is that your father?" He said, "No, sir. That's my grandfather." I said, "So you and your grandfather?" "Yeah, my great grandfather started this company, and everyone in the family contributes to this business, and we're all successful." And I was, it inspires me, and it also makes me a little envious and jealous because we're teaching these kids to be so separated and be individuals that we can't we can't build anything. They're taught to despise their parents. And that message, like I said, it's taking our kids and taking our relationships from our kids because they're trying to do something that not something that they want to do, but it's all about something that you don't want them to do. It's the rebellion. And I would get into that a little bit more, but it would cause a whole different type of argument. The argument that we've been going through where the men blame the women and the women blame the men. We got to save our kids. You got to put yourself outside of what you think is best for you because this selfish mentality that me, my is part of the reason that our kids are sitting there with nothing to do in the community. You complain about our kids not having these recreation centers and not having these parks and not having these programs, but what are you doing? Are you giving your money to Louis Vuitton and Gucci? Are you taking trips all the time and not putting back into your community because it's all about you and you only live once? You only live once. That's a crazy, crazy wave because you live through your children, and if you do it right, you live through your grandchildren and your great grandchildren. But you think that this life is the only life that you live. My grandfather, he lived through me. you know, we can see it all day long. My father lives through me. When you really stand on principle and you really go back and look at history, those guys were about family. Now you go to your mama house and it's about mama because dad ain't there. You know, it's a notion that make you want to cry. Anyway, so I promised y'all I was going to tell y'all about the Michael Jordan thing, right? So Michael Jordan's wife went to a car dealership that was full of luxury cars, and she was met at the door by one of the salespersons, the top salesperson, as a matter of fact. And the lady told her that she didn't belong there because she wasn't one of those prestigious women. She wasn't in the class of people that belong there. And she broke that woman's heart, not knowing who she was. And it was on her birthday, out of all days. So the lady went back, she told her husband about it. And her husband, in in great fashion, he went and of course she tried to hide it because that's what you guys do, and that's what our children learn too. But that's a whole nother subject. He could tell that something was wrong. So when she told him, he started to plan. She asked him what he was going to do. Of course, if he had told her, she probably would have tried to stop him. But what Michael Jordan did was just amazing. He found out who owned it. Not only who owned it, who owned the whole chain of those car lots, and he kept it very secret. He bought the car lots, and he fired the lady that embarrassed his wife. No, no, no. I'm sorry. He bought the chain of car lots, and he fired the lady that embarrassed his wife. And it was a couple things that I got out of that story, but then Michael Jordan made some quotes, and I was like, wow, for real, like it was crazy. So one of them was he said, true luxury begins where prejudice ends. Now that was real big to me because he made sure that they understood that what you wear, what you have, what you got in the bank doesn't define you as a person. We'll touch on that another time. I'll probably use that as a title in a video because I gotta do some more videos. I I can't help if I'm always gone and I'm not doing any content. I got to do better. And I know it's my fault. I'm gonna do better. But that was the first quote that he had. The second quote was even better. He said, "Prestige. No, I'm sorry. Luxury. The true definition of luxury is treating everyone with dignity." Let that sink in for a second. Now, I'm gonna be honest. The lowest person on the totem pole, they get mad respect from me because you don't know their story. You don't know what they've been through. Rich and fame, I'm probably not that good with. I'm just saying. I'm yeah. I get along with them. I know famous people. I get along with them, but I don't hold them on a total. Just I don't put them above people, ordinary people, right? So luxury is treating everyone. Oh my god! Right now we got a lot of people that look at people that don't make a certain amount of income as if they're nothing. And our children are taking on those traits. Matter of fact, they taking it on so well that they look at mom and dad who goes to work every day and look at them like they nothing because more than likely mom and dad don't make six figures, seven figures. The realistic part of the game is just doesn't exist. So I ain't gonna hold y'all up. I done talked for about 30 minutes, y'all. And I mean I could go, but I won't. I gotta do some more videos. Hey, to be honest with you, I love all y'all, man. And I need y'all help, man. Share this joint and subscribe to the channel. It's gonna take a community effort. Let's 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 save these kids. Peace.